Hey everybody, Anna Sabramwitz here. How are you doing? Happy Monday. Hope you're having a fabulous day so far. Let's talk about creativity. Let's talk about doing work you love. Today, what I was thinking is I would give you a little bit of a backstory on some work that I've been doing and some of the work that my students have been doing. I have a couple of announcements today. It's going to be fun, and let's get right into it, okay? So if you're visiting from someplace and you want to say hello, even if it's after you're watching this, I'd love for you guys to say hi. So make sure that you do. Say so in the comments. There's a bit of a delay, of course, but either way, I get to see those. So if you want to post where you're visiting from and maybe what kind of projects you're working on, that would be fantastic. All right, so hi, Omar. Great to have you here. Okay, so I talk to lots of people. There's a lot of people in my community, and one of the things that they struggle with is being creative in their work, and also doing work that when they release it, they're super proud of it. And I thought this would be a really cool time for us to really dig into this and the root of why people aren't feeling creative at their work and why they feel stuck or if they're in a rut, right? Hey, Faten, nice to have you here. That's awesome. So, and Joel, haha, sweet. So one of the things that when I was in university, I would take on, obviously you're trying to pay the bills, right? So there was this job that I worked at. It was quite cool. It was data entry. And so what happened is it was actually kind of ritzy, this job for a university, kid. And what happened is you'd show up, it was like this penthouse of this tall building. It was really cool. Everybody looked pretty pro. And then what happened is when you walked in, you basically walked up to this desk for your assignment in the morning. And you got a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet had like a bunch of user data on it. And what happened is before the interwebs, these organizations would have these data systems, custom software that would gather all this data, but they wouldn't talk to each other. And so what happened is I was basically the interface that would go log into these different places, cross-reference the data, make sure that it matched. If it didn't, I would identify that on the spreadsheet. And basically my day was logging into these systems, making sure that it matched the sheet, and then handing it in at the end of the day saying I had completed this. Now, during that time, I got to tell you, that job was awesome because what happened is I listened to Kurt Vonnegut books while I was doing the data verification. So what I would do is I would actually, I think I went through like Fifth Business and anyways, if you haven't heard of Kurt Vonnegut and you haven't read his books, you guys got to check it out. Anyways, so at that point, what's happening is, I'm doing my university work, and at the same time, what's happening is as I finish that work, I go to classes and I'm like, yeah, this is the life I'm working towards. So that job was a means to something, right? And never when I showed up at that job did I go, oh, I wish I could be more creative, because that was the expectation. I knew they communicated those things to me, right, as far as what the job entailed. And then that's what I did. And then I left at the end of the day going, yay, job done. I listened to my audiobooks. I verified all this data. This company now knows. Matching expectations on both sides, right? Now, this is what's crazy, is that later, when I got into corporate instructional design, the expectation was that I came in with a bunch of ideas about how I'm going to revolutionize the training, bring in fresh new ideas, move people to action through the learning I was crafting. And then I was handed basically a data entry job where I was taking one kind of content and turning it, I kid you not, from this kind of web page to this kind of web page, from this kind of digital thing, pixel, to this kind of digital pixel. I seriously, and it's surprising because I should have probably listened to audiobooks while I was doing, because that's how brain numbing and terrible it was. Now, that's, for some of you, you're like, what are you talking about, Anna? But for some of you, you know exactly what I'm freaking talking about. And I know this Not only because I went through it myself, but I talk to people every single week who are telling me that's the kind of stuff they're doing. And, when you're not, when the job, nobody starts a learning and development job or an e-learning design job going, by the way, we're hiring you for your creativity, but none of that's going to be used here. We're just kind of saying that to attract the best people, but we really don't care about maximizing you, helping you grow, all those things. Or what happens is people hire you, you have great expectations, you see the skill set required and you're like, well, that obviously means I'm going to push myself here, right? They need me to be 4 different people, a photographer, a voiceover artist, an e-learning developer, and on top of that, a really awesome project manager and an instructional designer. I mean, really, I'm going to do some amazing things here. Look at all that they need. And then you end up being basically a PowerPoint conversion machine that adds engagement and interactivity to these pieces. And I tell you, there's a disconnect. And that disconnect is the most frustrating and soul-sucking thing ever. Because you didn't sign up for that, right? That's what happens. And that pisses me off. And that pissed me off for a very long time. But the thing is, what I did is I tried to fix that 2 ways. One was, I was like, okay, this is the status quo at the organization. So what do? I try and make the change from the inside. And I tried both. I tried the inside and the outside. So the inside, where I'm the inside employee and I'm trying to instigate this stuff. And for some people that works. For me, it didn't. Not only because I didn't have the right approach, I didn't have the right mindset, but also I was really, listen, when you're working at a freaking factory and all of a sudden you're like, by the way, guys, can we do things differently? It's already established, right? Some of that stuff, that's never going to change. So, when some of us say, my organization's not ready, some of them are not. Some of them are going to be the factory model. That's just how and those organizations will die. Hopefully, the thing is, though, you're not going to die with them. And when I say die, I mean figuratively. Know what I mean? Then I tried to fix it from the outside. So how do I fix it from the outside? What I did is I was like, I'm going to start, and I did this. I started freelancing, went full freelance, quit my job. Of course, I got some leftover contracts that I worked on to keep me afloat while I was like, I'm going to go solo here and, fix the world from the outside. And I'm like, when I'm a freelancer, what I'm going to do is only the work that I feel is valuable and creative. And then reality hits, and here's lots of realities. I got to pay the bills. 2, I got to deal with people who have no clue about learning, and they're making decisions about what that's going to be like, and then they're telling me what they want, and they have no idea what's possible. And basically the status quo is still freaking encroaching on me, and I'm doing the same thing. So when I started freelancing, I was like, is this it, man? Is this all there is? And it's crazy. I talk to people every day who are hard workers. They've been at their thing for 10 years. They've been pumping out stuff for 10 years for their organization. And they're like, yeah, you know what? All of that stuff, I don't even have anything to show for it because everything I've developed is proprietary. And, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually okay. Because to be honest, a lot of the stuff that people put in their portfolios that's proprietary and they just got permission is crap. It's totally awful. I'm like, you really weren't. It's like, rarely do I see a project where people are sharing where it's actually like, damn, that's it shows me passion. It shows me somebody cares about the end user. Like, the end user is the learner. It shows me innovation. It shows me progressive, empathy, all emotion. Rarely do I see pieces that are built in-house that are actually that good. So maybe for most of us, it's actually good we don't have the screenshots, because most people build screenshots these days. They're like putting together portfolios for an employer full of screenshots of stuff that means nothing. And what I did is I did the same thing. The reason I'm able to be annoying today to people who are thinking about building their own portfolios is because they did the same thing. I had a slide deck of beautiful screenshots. Nobody understood what I was doing. I thought, if I could walk them through it, they would actually understand. And this is so weird because it's like saying, you know, let's say you're getting knee surgery or something. I don't know. I haven't had one yet. But imagine the surgeon having like a bunch of pictures or diagrams and him trying to explain everything to you. You kind of still don't get what's going on, especially if it's like complicated, like let's say brain surgery, right? You have no idea. You think you get it. So I did that. I tried to explain really the best practices, what we could do, all this stuff doesn't work. Most people don't get what the heck you're talking about. They don't live in our world. Where am I getting to? What the hell is all this about? Why am I talking about all this? Here's the big idea. Some of us work in places where the status quo is not going to change. That's the reality. That's why it's called status quo. Some of us are waiting for permission or waiting for the status quo to change. Guess what? It's not. It's not going to change. And nobody is going to give you permission to be creative, to craft work you're proud of. You're going to have to take that on yourself. You're going to have to be the adult, step out of that parenting role that somebody else is going to say things, good things for you, pat you on the back and say, John, you've earned it. You know, I'm going to make sure that next project really pushes you personally because I want to see you grow. Nobody's going to do that for you. I have been at places and worked with people where that happens, and those places are rare. And when people tell me that they have those kinds of environments that they work in, I'm like, you better enjoy that and capitalize on it because that's a great place to be. And there are places like that. But if you're not in a place like that and you're feeling like you're at a factory where things are not moving or things are moving, but it's the same repetitive work every day and you literally could be listening to an audiobook while you do your work, it's time for you to step up and say, okay, what am I going to do? Because it's not going to happen for you. It's not. You have to take action. You have to be the person who instigates that change for you. If nobody else, if you don't believe in you and take the action for you, nobody else is going to do that either. Nobody else is going to do that either. I was talking to somebody the other day and they're not very healthy. They're quite overweight, lots of medical issues. And this person said to me, well, I'm not going to change my diet or anything I'm doing until my doctor tells me to. And I thought, you're waiting for a stranger to take care of you? All right, that's cool. Zip it, right? If they don't care enough about themselves, why would a stranger, why they're waiting? It's called passing the buck, right? You don't have to take ownership of that. And a lot of people are like, well, okay, Anna, not a lot, the people that I talk to, they're saying things like, okay, but I don't feel like I have a reason to craft a piece, or it's going to take time, like I have a job. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Of course. Of course you're confused about what you're going to do because every time you've crafted a project, it's been for your work. So of course, yes, that's going to be different. I can help you with that. 2, if there is a time for you to invest in yourself, it's probably not going to be at work. It's probably going to be in your own time. Yeah, it's probably going to be the weekend. It's probably going to be the evenings. You're going to have to take time. And that's difficult. That is difficult as heck because let me tell you, when you're doing 8 hours of soul-sucking work every day, it's hard to motivate yourself to do things for yourself. It's hard. I know this. It's super hard. When I crafted my demo piece, I did it while I was working on projects, right? And crafting those projects to make money and pay the bills. And then when I crafted my own demo that I was going to own, that was going to be a representation of what I freaking wanted to see in the world, because that's the only way we're going to change the status quo. It's not going to be about complaining and talking about in forums. Did you ever see Steve Jobs in a freaking forum complaining about how he didn't like the way the PCs were built? No, he just went out and collaborated with people and did that. That's how you change the world. You actually have to build things to show people what is possible. So when I built my demo, it was hard. It was one, I thought it was going to be a total flop and I was going to make myself look like a fool because it was different. But the other thing was, it was for me. And the other thing I thought that was, and I learned this lesson, and I'm learning it through the other people I'm working with now who are crafting their own pieces. You have to pick a project that you care about. Because when you're showing up at the end of the day, you just had dinner, you hung out with your kids, you're just drained. You have to pick a project that'll make you excited to work on it. When you see the end of it, you'll be like, you know what? This is going to help people. Regardless of whether you get any work from it. This is you pushing yourself, right? And having that little piece, that legacy, that little piece that solves a real problem in the world. Do you know how satisfying it is for me to share a link to my demo? It is amazing. I'll get people email me and they're like, Anna, I went through it like a couple of times. It's about emotional intelligence. Whether people are even building e-learning or will ever work with me, everybody who goes through that piece, regardless, their life will be impacted in some way. They'll get an aha about how they behave and how it affects their relationships at work. This is huge. Do I feel good about sharing it? Heck yeah. Does that make it a more evergreen piece? Yes. When I say evergreen, as in it's not going to be timed out with the next iteration of software, because that's how good learning works. It has nothing to do with the software it is about. It has to do with how does it make people feel and what are the ahas they're getting as a result of it, right? Am I right or am I right? So that's one of the things I think you really need to focus on is when you're crafting your piece, stop building screenshots for your portfolios. That portfolio piece you just need one awesome piece. If you build one awesome piece, it's like saying I've directed a movie. What does it mean to direct a movie, to be a creative director in a movie? Listen, the thought that goes into it, the planning, the execution, the writing, the visual communication, the write-up of the feedback, consequences, everything that you do in that piece. If you're building your own magic, there's so many skill sets that go into it to craft a really good one. So you don't need more than one, because that is so many elements that need to go into it that actually make it awesome. Now, I don't want to tell you that to make it overwhelming, but what I want to do is say, instead of us crafting things that mean nothing, like we already do that, a lot of us do that at work. So instead of filling your portfolio with stuff that means nothing, imagine if every single person built something, like a really solid piece of learning that actually solved a problem, like helped somebody do something better, like really helped somebody do something better. Imagine if every one of us did that. That would be like, we'd already changed the world from the outside. The status quo would have to adjust because they're like, look at all these people, they don't work producing crap in-house. But look, all these designers are producing pieces that are helping people live better lives on the outside. What if we put some of that into the things we're doing for our employees every day? Imagine that. Imagine if the people who were, suffering through being underutilized every single day, if they simply invested in themselves, stopped complaining about what's happening on the inside and said, I'm going to build something beautiful and helpful on the outside. And I don't care what anybody else thinks or says, and if anybody here sees it, because I'm investing in me and I'm helping other people live a better life. Imagine that. Now, I'm not saying, we're going to start a revolution, although that would be really cool. I'm not saying it's going to take, it's going to be a month. I'm saying, imagine in a year, you've invested a little bit of time every day, to upskill yourself and craft a piece that truly makes you proud. And in a year, you have a completely different mindset about what that means, about who you are, about what you're worth, about your skills. That, to me, is super cool, and it's just exciting as well. So you have to pick, if you're going to do this, stop building those damn screenshots of stuff that nobody cares about, or taking screenshots of things that you're not really proud of. Build something that solves a problem in the world, that makes it instantly shareable, instantly valuable, and instantly you will feel more passionate about spending your free time building it. Because that's what most of us want, is just, to be honest, craft experiences that people actually enjoy and find valuable. That's huge, right? We crave that recognition. And it doesn't come with awards and accolades. It comes from people emailing us and saying, that was awesome. I enjoyed that. That was helpful. I'm going to share it with my friend who needs that. Those are the kinds of emails I got after I crafted my demo. And it's no longer a demo. It doesn't just end abruptly. It actually finishes the experience. There's a lesson, which is so cool, which is so meaningful. So if that sounds like something you're struggling with and you want to figure out how to get out of your rut, if you want somebody to help you get out of your rut, maybe this pep talk, this kick in the butt is enough, that's cool. I want it to be. If you want more help, I'm here for you. So if you want to craft your own piece that means something and you'd like to explore what that will take, and if you're up for it, I would love to talk to you. So I'll put a link underneath the video to talk to me. It's a strategy session. We'll figure out where your blocks are. We'll figure out what kind of excuses you're using not to take yourself to the next level. We'll figure out what it is that you can do to move forward and the actions you need to take to actually get yourself there. And it won't be a plug and play thing. It's going to be you systematically changing some habits, some mindsets, some skills. Yeah, it's going to be scary. Yeah, it's going to be freaky. A lot of people aren't ready for it. A lot of people are okay going back and saying, yeah, this is paying the bills. This is cool. That's cool. This is what I want you to consider. All right. So I hope this was, in a way, a little bit of a wake-up call and helpful. If you found it helpful, if you liked it, let me know. Put a like, subscribe, whatever, share, to let me know you enjoyed this content. All right. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I had a really intense weekend, and this has been on my mind, and I wanted to share it with you. So take care, everybody. Thanks for sticking around, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Talk to you later. Bye.